Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the RapChat podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, make sure to comment, and also subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating, and also please leave us a review. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at RapChat Podcast, where we post new clips of the show every single week. Now, today, we have our very first interview on the show. So we want to welcome Dave Hopla, former NBA shooting coach for the Washington Wizards, the New York Knicks, the Detroit Pistons, and the Toronto Raptors. Known to many as the greatest shooter on the planet, has personal records of 1,234 straight free throws made, as well as 78 straight NBA threes. Welcome, Mr. Dave Hopla, on to the RapChat podcast.
How we doing?
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Actually, I got 98 now. So
98.
that record's been outdated there.
Okay. We'll have to do some post-cut editing. Yeah.
That's not a problem. It's great to be on. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Yeah, great to have you. So I think we just wanted to start off with a couple general introduction questions.
Yeah, we'll get right into it, Elias.
Yeah. So something that we just kind of want to know about you, and I'm sure our viewers want to know as well, is what really made you fall in love with the simple thing of shooting a basketball?
Actually, it happened collectively. When I was a little kid, I was a big baseball fan. I grew up in a small town in New Jersey, and I played baseball, basketball, and football. And basketball was my least favorite sport. I was a huge San Francisco Giant fan. Willie Mays is my favorite athlete of all time. And then I moved to Baltimore and, moved into the city, and I just was at the YMCA spending time up there. And, basketball is a game where you can get better on your own. So I was spending a lot of time by myself. You could work on your ball handling. You could actually work on your passing, throwing the ball against the wall and then shooting. And I actually had a terrible shot. I hadn't been coached or anything. So I didn't learn really to shoot the ball correctly till I was 16 when I went away to my first basketball camp. But I spent, a number of hours, working on ball handling and everything else and passing. And then I refined it, my shooting as I got older and, then became a shooting coach.
Right.
I was just going to ask, what was that road like to becoming a shooting coach? Like, did you always know you wanted to do that, or was it something developed later on?
It actually happened, by mistake. I just wanted to coach in the NBA. When I finished playing basketball, when I finished college, I went to Venezuela to play basketball, and I went overseas for 8 years. And when I finished up, I came back and I wanted to coach. So being an assistant coach, it wasn't even like shooting coaches back in those days. But I sent videos out of me, working guys out and myself working out. And I got 2 letters back. One was from Doug Moe, who was coaching the Denver Nuggets. And the other was Mike Schuler, coaching the Clippers, and basically saying thanks, but no thanks, So, I started coaching at a junior college in Baltimore, Maryland, where I had attended. And I was an assistant coach here, and then I became head coach. And, we always shot the ball well. And then people were like, hey, can you come in and work with our team? And back then, colleges could bring you in and everything. Now there's so many rules and regulations they can't. And so I branched out and became, a shooting coach. And I started working out local high school kids. Then the high school kids became college kids, and it just, grew and grew. And then I had my own basketball shooting camps, and I went around the country doing shooting demonstrations. And then it just grew and grew. And I always tell people, you never know who's watching you, so always do your best. So I was doing a camp down at UCF, the University of Central Florida in Orlando, and actually Vince Carter was a camper there years ago.
Wow. No way.
That's how old I am. He was actually a sophomore in high school, so I don't know how many years I've been doing this stuff. Yeah, and so George Karl was going to be the next speaker after I was done, and I had finished doing my lecture, and George was mesmerized, and he said, you're the best shooter in the universe. And he goes, I'm going to bring you out to Seattle. And he brought me out to Seattle, but only as a consultant. I came out for training camp and came out 3 times during the season. And like I said, if I would have been there, not, caring or not being passionate, enthusiastic and loving the game, I would have never had that opportunity. So, I went out there, and then agents started hiring me, and I started working guys out, getting them ready for pre-draft camps. And the way I got up to Toronto was actually Sam Mitchell was an assistant for George in Milwaukee for a while. And I was dating my wife, and she lived in Chicago, and she had gone away for a while. So, I called George Karl up and said, would it be okay if I came up and watch, practice for a few days and spend some time? And he said, sure. So I went up there, and, Sam Cassell was on the team at the time. And Sam being a Baltimore guy, and me being a Baltimore guy, I was working him out a little bit, and Sam Mitchell said, if I ever get a head job, I'm going to hire you. Now, I've heard that a million times before.
Wow.
Sam was true to his word. He brought me up to Toronto. Andre Bargnani's rookie year, we actually won the Atlantic Division. Somebody had to win it that year. I think we were like 42-40 and won it, but that division was really bad. But Sam was coach of the year and everything. We had a great group of guys. I mean, we were like Team Euro. We had all the Europeans. We had Rasha Starovich. I mean, even Anthony Parker had played overseas.
Yeah.
We had Garbajosa. And I think if Garbo wouldn't have got hurt, we would have beat New Jersey, because Garbo had a toughness with them, and it was just a really bad injury he suffered late in the season up at Boston and everything. But we had a great group of guys. I mean, we had TJ Ford, Euro Slokar, Pop Sal, PJ Tucker. How about that?
Oh, yeah, rookie year.
Point shooter in the NBA.
Right, forgot about that.
PJ's his rookie year,
Yeah.
So we had a great group of guys, and the guys all got along so well. Like, we would be out as a coaching staff having dinner, and all of a sudden walking in, to the restaurant. You figured it'd be like, TJ and Chris Bosh, two of our highest paid players, two African Americans, right?
Yeah.
You figured, and they're both from Texas. You figured TJ's walking in with Euro Slokar and Rasho Nesterovic. Just like, but the guys all got along so well, and it showed on the way we played. I mean, we moved that basketball. I mean, we were so much fun to watch. I mean, we swung that ball from side to side around the horn, and it was a great group of guys. And like I said, if my wife could have worked out of Canada, I would have stayed, because just the whole city. I mean, the whole organization. Everybody was fantastic. And even when I was with the other teams, I always enjoyed going back to Toronto. Everyone was so friendly coming back and so forth.
Yeah, Toronto, I think, does have a little bit of a league-wide reputation for being a place that accepts a lot of people, right?
No one ever leaves angry. Everybody always loved their time there.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just have something to elaborate on there. Just to elaborate on what you said. Did you think back then when you first got hired by Toronto that shooting, like especially 3-point shooting, would be as big as it is now?
No, I actually think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to the game of basketball. No, seriously. I mean, it's gotten so out of hand. I mean, it's nice when the ball goes in, but when you have Houston went 0 for 27 a couple of years ago in the playoffs, and it's just like, you have like Brook Lopez shooting threes. Joel Embiid, he starts shooting them in the fourth quarter because he's so out of shape he can't get down in a low post in the fourth quarter, So, but how's the 7-footer supposed to rebound when he's 30 feet from the basket?
Yeah.
Now, think of this. If Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was playing today, he'd probably be coming off the bench.
Wow, that's actually really interesting to think about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess he can't shoot.
But
Yeah,
he was so good. He was so good, he probably hit the hook shot from three. That guy. But I mean, it's just become – I mean, every shot's a three. It's like – it's just so big. But the thing is, right, and I understand the analytics guys. I understand the numbers and, 33% is equal to 50%. But here's what they don't take into consideration. You better have a 33% shooter shooting that. You can't have Anthony Davis right now or Giannis shooting a three and think, Giannis shouldn't shoot a three ever.
Yeah.
He does a team a favor when he shoots that ball. And it's just like, seeing bad shooters take bad shots. And right now, there's no such thing as a bad shot.
No.
Yeah,
That's
fair
very
enough.
true.
Yeah,
Nope.
that's true.
They can all be rationalized.
Nobody does time and score anymore. It's like, just try to shoot as many threes as you can. Hopefully some of them go in. And it gets ugly, when they're not going in. And it's like,
it does.
But here's the thing. Whenever a game's on the line, where does everybody try to get to?
Yeah.
An elbow jump shot at game time. You run a high pick and roll. Chris Paul's getting to the elbow. Devin Booker, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. DeMar DeRozan,
Pascal Siakam.
I love him. Yeah. DeMar DeRozan doesn't even shoot a three for crying out loud. I think he had all those 30-point games. He had like 3 threes, and he had them in one game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got, it still has to be part of your game. And it's like, you don't see it. And what kills me is like when a guy has a layup and then he throws it out for the three. It's like Ben Simmons. I mean, another story. Spend a day on that one there.
So where do you think? Sorry, no. Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Oh, so where do you think that comes from? Where do you think this, shooting too many threes? How do you think that's evolved into what it is today?
Analytics.
Oh, okay.
You got all these analytic people, and here's an interesting thing. When I was with the Knicks, right, we had analytics. So I'll never forget we were playing. It was my second year there. We're playing like San Antonio. San Antonio's the number one defensive team in the NBA, and we're playing Charlotte the next night on a back-to-back, and Charlotte's like the 30th team in defensive, efficiency. So they're the worst. We got the best and then the worst. So they're up like 32. So Pop, he pulls the starters, puts in the third string. I think he put the equipment manager in and so forth, and he's telling the guys, don't foul. I want to get out of here. He probably had a dinner reservation at Smith & Winsky's with a nice bottle of wine. Let's just end this debacle and get out of here. So what do we do as the Knicks? Well, we're pulling our guys because, we're not going to win this game, but we can beat Charlotte. So we pull our guys. We put a guy in, Teray Murray. He had a cup of coffee in the league, right? He went to Wichita State. So Teray ends up being like a plus 18 against the number one defensive team in the NBA. The analytics guys comes in. He's a plus 18. Nobody's a plus 18 against the number one defensive team. He's a plus 18. He's a plus 18. We're like, it was a 32-point blowout.
Yeah.
He played against the third string. So what do we do? Well, okay, we'll prove a point here. Okay, we're playing Charlotte. We'll start them tomorrow. Wow. We start them against the 30th defensive team, the worst defensive team in the NBA. After 6 minutes, he's a minus 12.
Wow.
Because he's playing against starters. He's playing against starters now. See, the analytics, they don't take anything into consideration. It's the numbers.
Yeah.
And my daughter, God bless her soul, she's a terrible athlete, but she tries. So she's playing lacrosse, right? I got to tell it like it is. I mean, I love her. She's not an athlete. So anyway, she's playing lacrosse, right? So their team didn't win a game. So they have these districts, right? And anybody can go into districts. Now, why the athletic director would allow a team that didn't win a game to go into districts is beyond me. That's a whole nother story. So they put them into districts. So if you're the worst team, guess who you play in the first round in the districts?
The best team.
You play the number one team. It's 19-0 at halftime in lacrosse.
Wow. In lacrosse, too.
Now,
oh, my God.
So the thing is, now here's what happened. The lady coach, she actually went on vacation, so the AD who okayed the game ended up having a coach. So I told him it's his own fault. He deserved it. They shouldn't be on the field. So it's 19-0 at halftime. The final score was 19-0.
Wow.
Now, because the team just got the ball, they ran to the net, they passed to you, ran to the – they never took a shot on goal.
Yeah.
Now, guess what the analytics guy would say? Your defense was unbelievable in the second
half.
Wow,
Yeah, it's true.
They didn't. It was so good. They didn't even get a shot on goal.
Yeah.
It does take nothing.
No context.
It's all about the numbers, and some of the stuff's good. Don't get me wrong, but so many people just live and die by the analytics, and it's just, I just think there's a lot of people nowadays, in the NBA, they're not really basketball people. They're just like they're the numbers people and so forth, and it's. They've never played the game. It's this is the numbers. The numbers are with the numbers, and they're just like in here, not considering the other factors and everything. So
yeah, that's.
And now, I mean, you look at, you see staffs. I mean, there's more assistant coaches and players on every.
There's like three rows of coaches.
What are all these guys doing? I'm like, what is happening here? So, but
all right. So, did we want to move on with the next question? Or do you have one ready?
Oh no, you go ahead.
Okay. So this is just a question that I kind of had, and just something that I was curious about. When new players are coming into the league, and when you're coaching and seeing new players, and even new players today as they advance, what are some of the most common issues you see with people's shooting forms?
Everyone's different and everything, but one of the big things, I don't know when it started, guys are like continually like dropping their balance hand, one hand's up and the other one's down and they're twisted. I don't know where that came in, but you watch guys when they're shooting around, it's two hands up, two hands down, and all of a sudden they twist and turn, their bodies facing one way. And I think, overall, people don't talk a lot about the follow throughs, guys, twist. And what happens when you drop one hand, like I'm right-handed. So, and I actually call my other hand the balance hand. Now, a lot of guys call it a guide hand. I said, what does the guide hand do? And they said, it guides the ball into the hoop. And I tell them, well, the way you shoot, you should call it a misguide hand. But the thing is, in other coaches, a lot of coaches call it an offhand. I don't want my shot to be off, so I don't use any negative verbiage. So I said, off is a bug spray, keeps the bugs off. I think differently. And then other coaches call it a non-shooting hand. Well, if you're a non-shooter, you can't shoot.
Wow, yeah.
So I call it a balance hand because its job is to just help me balance the ball. We get the ball from here to here, and that's it. The shot's over. Now, you get some people, like you look at, what's his name, LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Yeah. He's like this here. Now, you can change the beat. Look at what his brother did with his shot.
Yeah.
He went from over here now, and he was shooting 40% from three till he got hurt.
Yeah.
But to go back to it, teaching the follow through. So what happens, guys, when they drop their balance hand, I have a power struggle. I'm trying to get my right side going this way, and I'm pulling my left side back. And that's what happens. They drop it so quick. Now, my body's going to twist and turn. So I'm either going to miss left or I'm going to try to correct it by shooting to the right. That's why you see these hands going all over. Whereas you want everything two hands up, two hands down, and so forth. So it's I'm big, with the catch, hand positioning on the ball and the follow through. And I watch a lot of guys. They don't even catch the ball correctly. They catch it, their hands are out. So now if I catch here, what do I got to do? Shoot. I got to play the piano in the middle of the shot.
Yeah.
If I show the palm to the passer and you try, you can catch a ball with one hand. But we play catch. If my hand's in the center of the ball, now I can't catch it if my hand's on the side.
Yeah.
But you'll see guys catch a ball like that and go up to shoot it, and then they got to twist and turn. So I always tell people, we eliminate motion, we increase accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
And the more moving parts you have, the more problems you have,
And I think something I've noticed is with someone like Jaren Jackson in Memphis, he's got a shot form that almost looks like a little kid's form. And I was wondering if, I know in Canada, at least, we grew up with smaller balls as we go through like elementary school, then to high school. We play with the women's ball in middle school. And I've heard that in the U.S., they almost use the men's ball as they grow up.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point. I've been playing this, and others have too. You look at the NBA, right? And I say this: Canada has done a great job developing players. Look at all the great players coming out of Canada.
It's the league's largest percentage of people who are from another country outside of the United States.
From another country, right? And it's you guys have done a great job. And I've gone all over the world doing camps and clinics, right? Now, everywhere, same thing. You go to Europe, they have a ball smaller than the girls called the mini basketball. And they start the real little kids off at a 6-foot hoop, when they're 6 years old.
We do that too. Yeah,
then they go 8. Then they go 8 foot, 9 foot, and 10 foot. Yeah. In America, my daughter played very poorly as well when I was with the Pistons. She was 10 years old, right? She's 10. She can't reach the bit. She's shooting the regular free throw from the free throw line, a foul shot when she shoots it because it's definitely foul. But she's lucky if she can hit the backboard.
Right.
Right? They had one girl that could actually maybe make 3 out of 10 on a good day. They're playing at the same, shooting from the same distance LeBron James.
Yeah,
is.
right.
You're a 10-year-old girl. And the score's 8-2 or something. And one girl only went from 4 to 8.
It's the girl that's the tallest and strongest.
Yeah, right. The tallest and strongest. And then, I say this, baseball in this country, right? American baseball, America's pastime. Everywhere it's the same no matter where you go. They play T-ball where the ball actually sits on a tee and the kid hits it, and you can't miss it. I guess some of them probably could, but you could hit the tee. So then they go from T-ball to where the coach or the parent pitches. So they basically pitch it under him. And if the kid's really bad, the parent gets pretty good at least hitting the bat so the kid doesn't look like a complete fool, right? So then after that, the next stage is they play Little League Baseball. You don't take a kid out to Yankee Stadium at 10 years old and tell him to throw to home plate. It's too far.
Yeah.
They have closer bases. The pitcher's mound's closer. The outfield fence is closer. And then you graduate. Then you finally go to Babe Ruth. And then, and in basketball, we go and we play a 10-foot. And so you're seeing kids with such bad form because what also they're doing, they play with the three-point line. So where does every kid run to at such a young age? They run out the three. And I'm sure you guys have watched it, like at before or after a Raptors game or even halftime. They have the little kids play.
Yeah.
And they try to shoot the NBA three.
Yeah, and they're like throwing it like this.
Yeah, so they do everything. So now you're trying to correct bad shots.
Right.
But the only way they can get it, it's like if I were to go out and shoot, say, from right inside midcourt, I'd be like throwing the ball with. I wouldn't have shooting form. That's what amazes me. Like with Steph and Trey, they're not big guys, and Fred VanVleet, the range that they have, they're actually shooting the ball or not throwing it. But most of these young kids, you can't develop that at 10 years old or 12. So you have all these bad habits going through, and even Steph says, my dad didn't let me shoot threes.
Right.
Yeah.
Del Curry didn't let him and Steph shoot threes till they got to high school. But everyone just runs out there, and then I hate to say it. I always say, and not only I said it, but like Mark Jackson, Steph has actually ruined the game for so many people because every kid thinks they're Steph Curry now.
Yeah.
And they turn around like they're not even watching the follow through because they see him in the All-Star game.
They also running away.
That's Steph Curry, man. That ain't you.
Yeah.
And it's just funny. But I was happy to see the other night they actually called a travel on one of those side step threes that he took, and I saw another travel with Joel Embiid, they called it.
Harden step back. Yeah.
Harden's teaching him the moves.
Yeah, he's teaching him it all right. So, but it's crazy.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because it does seem that a lot of these bad habits, like if you look at somebody like LaMelo Ball, it does seem like there's almost a push. Like it's like a two-handed. That's what I would do when I was like 10 years old trying to shoot a basketball. But
even Trae Young, when Trae Young was younger, he's better now. But when he first came to the league, he's just pushing the ball, trying really hard. He's jumping really far forward, trying to push that ball in.
Yeah.
Right. I'll just show you this in a second here. You guys can see this here. Can you see it?
You'd have to put it right in front of your camera.
Okay, and let me see where my camera's at here.
There we go. Yeah, a little bit farther back to the right. Or left, sorry. Left to the left.
Your left.
And farther back.
My left?
A little bit down.
Yeah. There we go. That's perfect.
Oh, tap your screen. Just tap the phone screen. You just kind of went. Yeah, there we go.
Perfect. Yeah.
There you go.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Perfect form. Isosceles triangle.
Yeah, it's a diamond.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting. Even Doc Rivers' son, Austin Rivers, is in that same position.
Yeah.
It almost looks like a volleyball set.
Yeah.
You're gonna set the volleyball and so forth.
Yeah.
And totally. It's even guys like Thaddeus Young does the Lonzo thing, where he shoots from his other shoulder. Like, how did that become a thing? Do you think?
You'd have to talk to his dad, the greatest coach in the history of basketball. I mean, you talk to him. I mean, and you just wonder how it comes from. I mean, there's a certain thing like Kevin Durant actually has cross-eye dominance, they call it. Okay. So, he finishes over here, but he's not over here.
Yeah,
I mean, I actually have still photos because at the time I was actually overseas doing clinics, and Magic Johnson had contacted me, wanted me to get with Lonzo, and I actually have still photos of Lonzo and with the ball over here. And actually, I have live footage, but also still photos. So he's here. He couldn't even see the hoop. So his head is actually tilted on this angle here because he only can see like 1/16th of the rim.
Yeah.
Might as well have been blindfolded.
Yeah.
So anyway, Magic was asking me, what would you do with him? Because I was overseas at the time. And I said, well, I would do a thing called one eye, one hand form sheet. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I would tell him to take his left hand, cover his left eye. And now, when can he see the hoop? So first of all, I'm not going to be able to hold the ball this way unless I'm palming it.
Yeah.
And my hand would be on the side of the ball. Well, we want our hand in the center of the ball. So now if his hand's in the center of the ball, when could he see the hoop is when his elbow would be above his lead foot. Even if I'm here, the ball's blocking my view. When I bring it over here, now I can see the hoop. So I said there's a whole progression I would have done with the mat. But, he ended up doing a great job. I think it was Fred Vinson was working with him. And I told Fred, he did a great job. It's not easy to change at that stage of your career. He'd been in the league for a couple of years, but he realized he had to, and even when Stan Van Gundy was with the Pelicans there, he said, we got to surround Zion with more shooters. We only have 2 shooters, Brandon Ingram and Ball. Yeah. And I mean, he went from like non-shooter to boom. And like this year, he's shooting 40%.
Yeah, he's a legit NBA shooter at this point.
And I tell people, you can get better at it if you're willing to make changes. And I always use Tiger Woods. How many times did he change his swing? He was already the greatest golfer in the world. He was still like making tweaks to his swing and everything. And it's like, that's what the great ones do. I mean, they, keep trying to get a little bit better. One little thing I might never miss, that is their mindset.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, did you have the...
Yeah, I guess we'll want to get into maybe a little more Raptors stuff. The Raptors are like a pretty interesting team because it seems like they aren't valuing 3-point shooting like compared to the rest of the league. Like last night they had a lineup to close without any NBA shooters at all.
Our best shooter's Pascal Siakam.
Right.
Yeah.
And he takes like 2 threes maybe if he had a game.
Yeah, we have Van Vliet and that's it a lot of nights. And do you think that's like a sustainable way to win in the NBA considering that every other team really values 3-point shooting? Or at what point do you need to add some sort of shooting?
I mean, they've gone through there's some people say, oh, you have to at least shoot 25 a game and everything. But you look at Phoenix, right? They're having a great year, and they're not like at the top of shooting threes and everything.
No. Mm-hmm.
The big thing is you have to have shot makers. You got to make shots.
Yeah.
Even you go back with Golden State, who started this. Whole thing. I mean, they got shooters who could shoot. But the thing is, even when I was with Detroit and everything, we said, you know what, you're not going to be able to take away. They're going to have a spell where they might hit 3 or 4 threes in a row. Steph's going to pull up from midcourt. Clay's going to hit one. He looked great last night, by the way. He looked like the old Klay Thompson last night. But the thing was, we wanted to take away their easy baskets because you're going to hit some threes, right? But they get a lot of backdoor cuts and everything.
Mm-hmm.
They get a lot of mid-range and everything else. And you have to take that. I mean, offensively, I think you have to have a balance, but you can't just live and die in the threes. And I say this, you see a lot of blowouts, like really bad, ugly games. So, for instance, back in the old days, before everyone was, 3-point crazy. Say it was a 12-point game with 2 minutes and 8 seconds left. Okay, I have the ball. You're up 12, okay? I throw it into the low post. My big man gets an and one. Okay, now there's 2 minutes left. We took 6 seconds off. He makes his free throw. We're down 9. We get a stop down the other end. Okay, we score. Now it's a 7-point game, right? And now there's a minute and 45 left or, minute 30. We're still in it. Now, that's the way you used to chip away at it. Now, we're jacking a 3 up, man. Now it doesn't go in. It's a long rebound. Long rebounds, long shots equal long rebounds. So now it went from 12 to 14. So what do we got to do? We got to jack another 3, man. Boom, they missed it. Boom. So all of a sudden that 14-point lead went to a 22-point lead because it's like, oh, we got to shoot the 3.
Right.
And back then we say, okay, well, we can manage the clock, and everything. But now it's it's all of a sudden that lead all of a sudden goes. The same thing. If the team gets hot, it can dwindle. But it's I'm a big believer. Okay, you haven't made a 3 all day. Now all of a sudden, the last 2 minutes, you think we're going to catch fire. That doesn't happen a whole lot.
Yeah.
So, but I think you have to have an even balance on it. But you got to make shots. I mean, like DeMar DeRozan, he doesn't even bother shooting a 3.
No.
Yeah.
This is like bread and butter here. I mean, and it's you look at the influx. Even when I was with the Knicks, my first year at the Knicks, we led the NBA in the history. We were the number 1 team in the history, the most NBA threes made in the history of the NBA. It's not even in the top 50 anymore.
Wow.
It's probably not even the top 100, man. Because it's just it's just gotten so crazy, and it's and even you watch it even in college. I mean, some of these college games, I'm watching teams 1 for 14, other teams 2 for 20. I'm like,
and they make that one, and they get so hyped about it.
no wonder the scores too. I went to a high school game. I work with this high school team every Wednesday morning, and I went to watch them play. It was over Christmas, and the score was 39-18 at halftime. I left at halftime. I told the coach, I said, I can't watch it anymore.
Oh, no.
The other team had 18 points. They made 3 threes, the other team. Now, I don't know how many shot, but they made 3. And they banged all 3 of them.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
So it was like, I said, I can't watch it. I mean, so I'm like, who told these kids that you can't make a free throw, but you think you're going to shoot better? You know, you're lucky if you can make a layup and stuff. And it's like, but now you're going to shoot 3. It's like I said, it's just, I don't know. I don't know where it's going, but it's like every sport, though. I mean, even like you take the 3-point contest, right? What have they done with that? We got to have more scoring than that. So we got a whole rack of bonus balls. Oh, we got the 4-point play. Go shoot that. So, boom. You know, baseball, we got to have more scoring. You know, you got to juice the ball up. You can't brush the guy back. See, if you hit 2 home runs off me, I can't give you a little chin music. You know, you get thrown out of the game. And in basketball, I mean, does anyone play defense anymore?
Good question.
I mean, seriously, does anyone attempt to play defense? Every night somebody scores 50 points.
Yeah.
Katie
just scored 50.
Yeah. Kyrie had 50. It's like 50's like the old 20 or something. You know, it's like and I know. I mean, you know, you can't give a guy a hard foul. It's, you know, it's just we're just so soft. And American football is the same way. You might as well put a skirt on the quarterback. You know, it's just we've become so soft as a society down here south of the border. It's like, you know, it's I don't know. I mean, what? I mean, you remember when McHale horse-collared Kurt Rambis? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
You guys remember that? He'd be out of the league.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be probably thrown in jail in this day and age, you know? It's like, but like, it's just like everyone talks about, well, who do you think would win? Like if Michael Jordan's team played the freaking
Steph
Warriors.
Curry's 2017 Warriors or whatever, 2015 Warriors.
And the thing is, could you and I read a thing the other day. Michael Jordan he goes, I'm so glad I didn't grow up in this era. He goes, you would have never seen what I was able to do. Because he would have been settling for the 3-point jump shot. You wouldn't see him being able to do the great athletic things he do because he'd be just, you know. Yeah. And I thought that was an interesting point, you know, because everyone now, like I said, the 3 is just a big thing. And you know, I've watched like some AAU basketball. I don't know why. That's really bad. But so I just had nothing else to do. But like I watch AAU basketball. Every team has the same play. Take them. Everything's, what do you mean take them? That's all. It's clear out. Oh, okay. They got the same play as you with everybody take them. That's all they yell. And then they don't run layup lines anymore. Everyone just stands outside the 3 and chucks. I'm like, it's like it's not a violation to go inside that lane, you know. And it's I don't know, but I remember. You guys remember Antoine Walker?
Yes.
With the Celtics. Well, Antoine used to shoot a lot of threes, and they said to him, "Why do you shoot so many threes?" He said, "Because there's no 4s." And now they're talking about will eventually, you know. Oh, that'll really be something with that.
I don't know if I want to see that. That'd be kind of gross.
Yeah. But you know,
it's go ahead.
Oh, like I think one of the reasons, or how the Raptors have sort of compensated to a certain extent with the amount of threes that are taken, is that we've kind of drifted away from the traditional sort of. You know, you have 3 smaller guards and you have your 1 big man, and instead we've opted for everyone is like 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", and super long arms, super lanky, so that when those rebounds, and then when the rebounds go flying because all these teams are shooting threes. Like for example, Chris Boucher last night. I mean, he's a player on the Raptors. He had 9 offensive rebounds last night.
And Ken Burch had 6.
Yeah, and we were playing against the Nuggets. I mean, they weren't shooting a ton of threes anyways. I mean, more than has used to be taken, but still, you know, you get these guys out here who have 7-foot plus wingspans. They're grabbing those rebounds. They're gonna grab them.
Oh yeah. What's like you go back? I think it was before the pandemic. Patrick Beverley had a 16 rebound game.
Yeah.
And Trae Young had a 13 rebound game. You know, and it's because the longer rebounds, the big guys can't move as good. You know, so these little guards can run down the long rebound. But like you said, everyone's now trying to get that long, athletic guy, like Scotty Barnes, where long Pascal Siakam, where they can switch everything, and everyone switches. Nobody guards their man anymore. It's like, heaven forbid, I'm man up. This guy's not going to touch the ball. And that's one thing, everyone talks about the greatest of all time. I still think it's Wilt Chamberlain. I was old enough to see him play and what a species he was. But the thing was, like, Michael Jordan, he wouldn't be switching out. I remember a few years ago, and like LeBron was Kevin Durant was coming over with the Cavs, and he was right over midcourt, and LeBron goes to Kevin Love. Switch. It was like at midcourt. You mean to tell me Kevin Love's going to try to guard Kevin Durant at midcourt? Great. You can't switch that, man. I'm going to, Jordan would have been down on four. And one thing about Jordan, I used to always say, when he wasn't given, when he had an off night offensively, I thought he became a better defender. Mm-hmm. Most guys, they don't have anything offensively, don't give you anything defensively. It's like they hang their head, they run back. Jordan was like the opposite. Like, you know what? I don't have it going. Guess what? You're not even going to touch the ball now.
Yeah.
He just became a maniac down the defensive end. He goes, you know what? I'm not doing anything this end. Well, guess what? I still can give my effort defensively, but most people aren't that way. I got to be doing good offensively to give effort defensively. But, that's why one of the reasons why I just thought, Michael just, would lock people down and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why we enjoy watching the Raptors so much is because we are so defensively minded as a team and defensively oriented. And Nick Nurse and Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster, they've really collaborated on trying to make sure that we prioritize. Like Kawhi Leonard, amazing scorer, absolutely. Right. But one of the main reasons why we wanted him is because look who's in the front court: Pascal Siakam and Kawhi Leonard. These guys are crazy, ridiculously good, and Marc Gasol, crazy, ridiculously good defenders. And that's why sometimes it's fun. It's just fun to watch us on the defensive end because we'll just get steals after steals and arms are flying around and trying to.
I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was when the bubble was going on, and I was watching the Raptors, and they were down 28, and he took the starters out, and he had Boucher in there, and they came back, and they won the game. It was just incredible. They just were fresh.
That was the Dallas game. Yeah. We all remember that. That one goes down in history for us.
It was just crazy. I mean, what a comeback. And then Nick Nurse said, "Yeah, we had him right where we wanted."
Fell into our trap.
And it was just all done on the defensive end. It was everyone was hustling. I mean, Boucher is so active and long, and you need energy guys. I mean, it's. You have to have guys that are accepting the roles and so forth. And, it's funny, Scotty Barnes, I actually used to go and do some stuff at his high school when Scotty was at University High before he transferred to Mount Verdi and played for my buddy Kevin Boyle. But I've known Scotty for a few years, and just the kid's got such a bounce, to his he's got live. He's almost like a newborn colt, what I mean? The way he still hasn't figured it out yet. I mean, he's going to be a great player. And I mean, it's a toss up. I mean, he could very well be rookie of the year. I mean, Mobley's sort of I mean, I don't know how that's going to pan out with who votes on it and stuff, but I mean, look what he does. Look what he brings in. He hasn't hit the rookie wall. Mobley had a spell there. All of a sudden he was but Mobley's going to be a good one too. I mean, he's so long and he has a good feel. He does what I love about that. These guys are the basketball players. Scotty doesn't go in and I'm going to take 30 shots a game, and all that stuff. He lets the game come to him. He does whatever is needed in order to win. Yeah. He gets a steal. He gets the putback. He takes a charge. He takes it. Takes pride in the defensive end. He's a guy that does defend. And everyone compares him to a young Scottie Pippen. A lot of the experts and stuff with his length and his size and everything. And Scotty's got a good feel for the game. He passes the ball well, and he's got a great personality. He's dynamic, and stuff. So
hopefully we can build a team around him.
Yeah.
Maybe one more question.
Yeah, let's do one more question.
Okay.
So we have one more question for you before we finish this up. So you worked there with Kobe Bryant before he was drafted. I think the big thing I wanted to know personally is before he was drafted, when you worked out with him, did you know he was going to be as good as he ended up being?
No, actually, I was working him out. You know, he's right out of high school. Arn Tellem was his agent, and I told Arn he's not ready for the NBA.
Wow.
And he wasn't. He wasn't. So thank you saying, wow, he wasn't. It's his rookie year. What do you do his rookie year?
That's true, like 7 points a game, not much.
Utah, Western Conference Finals. What do you do?
Airballs.
4 airballs.
Damn.
Wow. Yep.
Right? Didn't affect him one bit because mentally he was so tough. He was so tough mentally. Now, let's go back. Nick Anderson. Remember Nick Anderson?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Missed 4 free throws. Never was the same player. He was a slasher. Missed 4 free throws in the playoffs. Looked like a deer in headlights. He didn't want to go. He didn't want to slash anymore because he didn't want to go to
The free throw line.
But Kobe, Mr. Fort, didn't mind. Now I'll tell you one thing about Kobe, and I said it's a double-edged sword. You know, I've never worked with anyone else like him. It's been a blessing and a curse because as talented as he was, he paid attention to detail. When you're telling him to do something, he looked you right in the eyes.
Wow.
He didn't like turn away like, you right, coach, you right, give you lip service. He said, I want to be the greatest player to ever play the game. And this is what he said, 17 years old. And I just said, darn, I think he should go to college. I mean, I really did. And he struggled. He didn't like come in and set the league on fire, you know? And so one thing though, like I said, so we're going out to eat after the first time I worked him out. So Arn Tellum's sitting in the front seat, Kobe's in the back seat. Kobe's got Street Smith's basketball yearbook. So he's sitting in the back, and we're heading to go eat. He's like, Atlanta. Oh, I'm better than him. 2 years from now, I'll eat his lunch, man. Oh, this guy's garbage. Boom, Boston. He's going through Charlotte. He had like a hit list who he thought he was better than. I mean, you talk about. So the other thing, like I said, you know, all these players say, I want to be like Kobe, this and that. Like, yeah, I get it. Everybody, it's easy to say you want to be like. The guy was never late for a workout. Always wanted to stay and do more. And it's just like, you know, like people like, oh yeah, well, I want to be. It's easy to say you want to be like, but you gotta, follow up on it. And you know, it's funny. When I was with the Pistons, you know, we had Contagious Caldwell Pope, and then you know he left us to go out to L.A. and he posted a thing on Twitter. He goes, "I'm in L.A., man. I'm up at 5:30. I'm grinding." Everyone's grinding. I tell you, I've never grinded a day in my life. You know why? I love what I do.
Right.
A grinding isn't love, man. Grinding is like taking your teeth. I said, go grind all you want. I said, I love what I do, man. I'm not grinding gears or whatever. That's like, you know, grinding your nails against the blade. That stuff's not pleasant.
Yeah.
I said, it's not. See, I love what I do, so it's not a grind.
It's not a grind. Yeah.
Grind would be if I ran a marathon. So KCP writes 5:30 in the morning. I'm in the gym, man. I'm getting after it. I'm grinding this and that. So I texted KCP and I said, KCP, the only reason you're up at 5:30 in the morning, you're still on East Coast time, man.
It's jet lag.
I said it's 8:30. It's 8:30. I said, let me see this post 30 days in a row. Never heard enough speak from him, you know. So,
that's awesome.
You know. Yeah. So I guess that was a grind for him to get up at that hour.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Okay. So I think here's where we will wrap it up. So we want to extend our thanks and gratitude over to Dave Hopla for coming on the show. It's
awesome opportunity.
Such a great opportunity, such an amazing opportunity. You know, it's not really often that, you know, kids our age either get a chance to talk to people who are this experienced and, you know, this knowledgeable when it comes to basketball and the NBA. So it's our honor to honestly have you on the show, and we are so excited for that. So I want to say thank you again so much, Dave, for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No worries.
I really appreciate it, man.
No worries.
Stay in touch, man. You guys stay in touch.
Oh, absolutely.
For sure.
I'm sure Joe will be contacting me to see how it went.
Oh, I'm going to tell him right after this, yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate everything, guys, and let's see what happens closing the season out, right?
Yeah. Try and get that 6th seed.
Yeah, all right. Take care, guys.
Yeah, you
have a good one.
Thank you.
We'll see.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning into our interview with NBA shooting coach Dave Hopla.
Yeah.
We want to thank Dave so much for coming on the show, and it's been a super fun experience to talk to him.
That was great.
Yeah, it was. I
great.
had a fun time. So thank you guys so much for listening to the RapChat podcast. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, make sure to comment, and also subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, make sure to leave us a rating, and also please leave us a review. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at RapChat Podcast, where we post new clips of the show every single week. I'm your host, Luke Dick.
I'm Elias Eldridge.
And I'm Sam Kenny.
Peace.
Peace out.